Good afternoon and welcome to this week's episode of Safety Culture Solutions, brought to you by Safety Culture Strategies. Each week we share different topics on this concept of safety culture, leadership, employee engagement, communication. There's lots of moving parts because everybody kind of has the same goal, have a positive safety culture. You can find everything that's going on www.scstrat.com. You can reach me at mike@scstrat.com. Today we are absolutely thrilled to have with us the founder and CEO of Yelllowbird, Michael Zalle. He is a career tech entrepreneur, board member and advisor, and he has a passion for making a difference through finding the better way to solve problems through tech. He's responsible for creating and building new concepts and companies, resulting in multiple successful exits over a 25-year career. He attended San Francisco State University and Pepperdine with a focus on business management. Michael enjoys traveling with his wife of 20 years and two awesome kids. He engages in a variety of outdoor sports, including golf and tennis. He ranks himself as an incredibly average golfer and perhaps even worse tennis player, but remembers a day when he was competitive at both. Michael, before we get discussion on our safety culture, can you give us some insight on your amazing company, Yelllowbird?
Sure, thank you for having me. So Yellowbird's an environmental health and safety on-demand matching company. So what we do is we're a platform for skilled professionals, both retired, working, and consulting types of professionals who want to make extra money or make themselves available for companies with specific needs and challenges.
Perfect. And just, truth in advertising, I'm a part of the Yellowbird family. I'm really thrilled to be in the queue with you guys. And I understand you got some growth going on, Michael.
Yes, sir. We are now in all 50 states. We are nationwide and growing at an exponential clip. Our company has been able to grow during the pandemic from an Arizona-only company to an organization that is in literally all states. We have over 2,000 professionals, and we are matching, I think last week we matched over 55 different professionals with opportunities.
Excellent. And the feedback I'm hearing and learning about the organization, your clients, I think they'd give you 3 thumbs up but they only got 2 thumbs. I think the general overall response, they're just thrilled your capability. I think part of it is you have this unique attribute. You guys are pretty nimble. They don't have to wait 60, 90 days to go through a hiring queue, or they call some job shop and they wait a month before somebody calls them back. I believe you guys have the capability. You can respond in days. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So our platform is designed around the ingestion process of a professional, and what we're really focused on achieving is taking the skills, capabilities, experience, background of the individual and making sure that we best match them for their passions. So from our perspective, I think I might have frozen, but from our perspective, what we are focused on is making sure it's an efficient match. And so an efficient match from a Yellowbird perspective is we look at not only the industry that we're going to serve, but do we meet all of the criteria around the mission and goals of the professional? So as an example, if you're a retired professional and you want to make yourself available for travel outside of the state or outside the territory, we put that on your profile and we'll make things available for you in that way. If you're a professional who wants to say, look, I'm only willing to do Fridays, evenings, and weekends, then we look for gigs from that perspective. Very efficient because we use technology. We are not a traditional temp or staffing agency as has been done traditionally.
And that's some of the feedback I'm hearing. There's a lot of buzz about what Yellowbird's doing. So I think you're right on the right trajectory, as I like to say. So it's when we,
thank you.
You betcha. So when we look at a safety culture from your perspective, and again, you've been in this with different organizations and the support you're doing for different clients, what do you view as some of the key attributes of a positive safety culture?
I believe looking at the organization for who and what it is rather than who and what you necessarily aspire to be is important. Um, a lot of times you put a poster on the wall or you implement a tagline, but you haven't really done the blocking and tackling steps necessary to put processes and procedures to be most successful in creating a consistent and sustainable safety program. And so I think understanding where your challenges are and finding either internal or external experts to help you address those challenges. And it may be things as simple as if you asked your staff what the policy is around XYZ, not with an accusatory tone, but really with a tone of, do you understand our policy around this? Do you understand why we have the policy around this? How do you feel about it? Having those discussions creates a team thought mentality, and candidly, using somebody like a Yelllowbird professional or other type of professional from the outside to come in and help is often the best way to instill your own internal values.
Michael, you're right on target. You have chat previously. A lot of times when I go into organizations and companies, and you're correct, you don't want to go about it rather harshly, but when I see the big posters, safety's job 1, target 0, and not unsurprisingly, a lot of times when you talk to people at the task level, the people turning tools for a living,
sure,
it doesn't necessarily resonate with them very well.
Well, safety's job 1 is not a tactic; it's a result, right?
Exactly.
You need to make sure people understand tactically what's expected of them and why. And the why is so important. If you've ever met somebody, and unfortunately I have met people who have been injured and or had effects of even being around somebody who has had a catastrophic event, it's life-changing. And the why in this is so important. And so that's one of the reasons why I founded Yelllowbird, is because we can bring in external people who truly understand the why of what they do. We are not outsourcing or replacing anybody. What we're doing is we're complementing initiatives to accomplish the overall objective, which is the goal of 0, of course, but
exactly.
It's programmatic.
Exactly. So from a business owner's perspective, when you're reaching out to some of your different clients, what do you think is the most critical skill at their level to where they can master this perspective of having a positive safety culture?
I think they have to look at themselves as an air traffic controller rather than a firefighter. If you look at yourself as an air traffic controller and you look at things from a top level perspective up in the tower, and I know this is not this could be perceived as glass towers kind of thing, but it's not intended that way. But if you look at your safety ecosystem from a high level and say, okay, I can see some flaws here and there and so forth, it's a much more comprehensive strategy. The firefighting, we had an incident over here, or man, I need to get safety training done over there, or I have an OSHA letter going on over here I have to address, has people running around like a cat with its tail on fire, rather than being able to elevate the manager or the whomever's responsible. Sometimes it's the HR leader, sometimes the operational leader, sometimes it is the person who actually has a safety title. But being a firefighter is very, very challenging because people have only so much capacity to look at multiple things. I mean, arguably, you can only look at one thing at one time.
Good point. And it's ironic, and like your organization, I've worked with a lot of companies, I've supported a lot of VPP efforts, voluntary protection programs, and yes. I've had clients speak to me, they have a big problem with their union, so they want me to come in and help them, get ready for VPP. And I says, well, tell you what, I'll be glad to come talk to you about this, but what your VPP journey is going to reaffirm the challenge you have with your unions. So you want to get those sorted out, because what it's indicating to me, somewhere, somehow, the communication's not near what it should be. And your VPP journey will just reinforce that, and you may inadvertently alienate the very people you want to get engaged. And they went,
Exactly.
oh. I said, now, that's a great goal, maybe 18 months from now. But on the front end, let's kind of figure out how you got here and then get all the people engaged and figure out how to change it a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And often what it will take is an external party. It's one of the reasons why I feel Yellowbird's a valuable offering is it doesn't necessarily take a third party to come in and be hired for a full-time staff engagement. Maybe it takes a 30-day engagement to come in, help you identify some areas of improvement and opportunity, and create a go-forward plan with, if you choose to do an ongoing check-in, great. If not, at least you've set a plan by an expert who is a knowledgeable third-party leader. And so that's one of the things that I think is very valuable. And leaning on, I know this is, some people roll their eyes, but I look at it like a general practitioner in the medical field versus a brain surgeon or a cardiovascular expert or something. You call on these folks to help you with your specific need, and you bring them in as a sharpshooter. You can still have a generalist on staff that helps you with the general operations.
You're right on target. And inevitably, a lot of these organizations, like the head safety guy or gal that's responsible for the program, they have a lot of stuff on their plate every day. And so now, so I think where your company can really augment them is they come in with that unique skill set. That's their main focus. So it's one less thing on their plate. And then they're coordinating with them, they give them the feedback. Here's our progress. Here's the initial goals that we agreed on. Here's what the final report's going to look like. We can help you do an exit briefing. So it gives them a little bit of relief because they still got the day-to-day things they have to address.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Okay, here's a fun one. When I get big thinkers like you on the show, I get extra excited. So, from your perspective, sir, is it possible to actually measure the impact of management engagement, or is it just more organic in nature?
That is a great question. That really is. And I really wish I had more time to ponder it. I'll do a little tap dancing here.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. We can come back to it. Yeah.
No, but it's quite all right. It's quite all right. So we've actually asked ourselves this question quite a bit as well. And if it can't be measured, it can't be managed. Right. And that's an old adage. It's very much true in everything in business. And so the first question is management engagement measurable? And if you can measure the management engagement by whatever metrics you put in place, then the answer is yes. Often it's measured by budget. Are they investing in programs and projects that result in a safety culture? But it's not something that I think you can just look at a balance sheet or a cash flow statement or some kind of traditional marketing metric and determine that the output of their engagement has yielded, XYZ. Obviously, the incident levels may potentially, but is that something that was measured that you could tie straight back to the management engagement? Very, very challenging.
Maybe not.
Very challenging.
I was very fortunate to have John Dillinger on the show recent, Druppinger, and just amazing speaker. And he's told me, he said one of his ways when he works with his clients, if they don't bring in at least once a year someone like John to come in and speak to their company. He says, not him, but somebody like that, because there's another example. Management's commitment to carve out money in that budget, so to bring in some external people, a different look. They enjoy that presentation, resides a little bit, versus, well, okay, we're going to start cutting budget. We can't bring anybody in. And from his perspective, sooner or later, things may start going south for him. We're going to take
And I do find, I will tell you this, I do find that when people invest in safety as a component of quality control, it tends to get a lot more focus. And quality control is directly affects the bottom line. And so sometimes that's how you can really do some measurable initiatives.
Because those, by definition, you really want to have them integrated. Otherwise, it just can introduce another set of inadvertent conflicts. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, before I come back into safety culture, I'm going to follow up with Michael. I got to ask the question, why, with everything you had going on in life, why do you decide to stand up Yelllowbird? Don't go wait. We'll be right back.
Safety Culture Strategies provides world-class safety culture and safety program management consultative services for clients throughout the United States. Whether your company is pursuing Voluntary Protection Program STAR designation, ISO 45001 certification, or considering a comprehensive review of your current safety programs and processes, Safety Culture Strategies brings hands-on experience combined with a unique perspective that readily translates from senior management to task-level personnel. This collective skill set provides you with a very insightful health check of your overall safety management system that can also assist with reducing injuries and attrition, as well as increasing profitability. Safety Culture Strategies is also certified to provide Ziegler Institute employee engagement training and leadership coaching. When combined with established relationships with federal and state regulators, Safety Culture Strategies is uniquely positioned to assist the safety culture efforts of any company. For additional information, visit www.scstrat.com or call us at 702-780-1410. After all, every company has a safety culture, but is it the culture you want?
Well, hopefully by now, from viewing our episodes, your answer says, yeah, that's the culture I do want. We got to get Michael back up here before we get back to our safety culture stuff, because this is a fun guy to talk to. So, Michael, I got to ask, for everything going on in your career, you've been helped a lot of successful exits, stood up a lot of companies. Why did you decide, well, I'm going to go ahead and start it again. This time we're going to do Yelllowbird. Can you give me a thumbnail? What led to that? Because this is not an easy lift by any stretch of the imagination.
No, it's a good challenge. It's a good challenge. I enjoy starting businesses. I truly do. I feel like they are my babies. I have an idea of what I want them to look like, and then as we develop, they evolve and grow and become something more than I could have ever envisioned when I first kicked it off. But the original concept of Yelllowbird came when I was driving in the back of an Uber. And the gentleman that was driving me was way overqualified in life, but particularly to drive an Uber. He was a senior level leader from the military who retired, and he liked the regiment and he liked being able to contribute to society. And he's driving an Uber at 5:30 in the morning, and I was thinking to myself, there's a lot of value this gentleman has to offer. So many operational experiences, so many logistical experiences, leadership talents. And no, I didn't try to hire him per se, but I thought to myself, I know the EHS community very well. It's an aging community, and there's a lot of folks that are retiring, and my hope is that we can keep them engaged on their own terms. And so that was kind of the original kickoff, was to recruit and bring in quality retired folks or people transitioning. That being said, we have evolved into, to my delight, into working folks, to people who run their own consulting companies already, even younger generations who are coming out of school, who are just getting their ASP or just getting a lower level cert and an OSHA 10, OSHA 30, but they want to be available as maybe an EHS coordinator or help review people's documentation because they're newly educated on it. And so it's really become something more than I even anticipated.
That's excellent. And to coin the old phrase, pardon the pun, we've heard it for now the last few years, that white-haired tsunami. All of these, the aged or older, how you like to be politically correct, the safety professionals that are choosing to retire. So if you have a company and you aren't afforded to be really nimble and be able to get them connected with your younger staff before they do retire, Yelllowbird, we really can help fill that mental gap, for lack of a better phrase, so they can bring some of the younger talent up to airspeed more effectively.
So it's interesting. So one of the things that I'm passionate about, and I wasn't when I started the company, and I've realized the impact that we have here. And it's one of the areas that I'm really very, very energized and excited about is the leveling of the playing field that we are creating through Yelllowbird. So what most people don't understand or realize is that when you create a LLC or a small consulting practice, it takes some paperwork, it takes some doing. You have to get an attorney, you could go onto LegalZoom or something else. But in order to actually get that business stood up, it takes a fair amount of effort. And if you want to monetize your knowledge and skills and capabilities, and you really have the ambition of going out to market, you don't want the hurdles in front of you. And so we're removing a lot of those hurdles by providing insurance, which we do. We provide professional insurance. We also provide occupational accident coverage. So it's like workman's comp if you're on site, even death benefit if you get injured or killed during an event, which we pray, obviously, that never occurs. We provide all of that. And so what I've realized is we've leveled the playing field on multiple levels, including if you don't have the economic wherewithal, or you feel that you're part of a disadvantaged community, or you are part of a disadvantaged community, we don't take any of that into account when we're matching people. We look at who you are, what you've done, what your skills are, what your capabilities are, and we remove every other hurdle possible. And for us, that is a meaningful mission as part of the safety community. And so I'm very, very excited about that.
That's just phenomenal, because especially some of the younger talent getting their foot in the door. We're getting towards the tail end. I got a couple more questions, because I love when I have people like you in the room with me, so to speak. So at the C-suite level, those executive personnel, from your perspective, what's the one thing, skill, practice they could do on a daily basis to reinforce their positive safety culture?
The one thing they can do, make sure that you know your mission for your team and repeat it in every possible way you can. So if you are able to repeat that on an ongoing basis, if it's not from the top down a very clear statement of what you believe in, including we put safety ahead of profit. We put safety ahead of everything, and put your money where your mouth is. Because at the end of the day, that is a critical aspect of business. And if your actions don't show and your message isn't consistent, nobody's going to believe you.
Nobody's going to believe it. And I'm such a big fan too, because I've seen organizations, you go to the big conferences like you've spoken at, Michael, and they have the vendors, and somebody, God bless them, they want to sell you the silver bullet and buy this one CD or this raffle system, and then they get puzzled when it doesn't work. I said, well, to me, number one, just when you can, get out of your office and go talk to your people. And just talk with them, not at them, right? And kind of get that communication, figure out who your mission is. Okay, we're getting towards the tail end, and we're going to do a little quick summary. You're at a national conference. I think you've done that once or twice, and naturally you're a keynote speaker. The room is full, C-suite, senior professionals, maybe a safety director. They've really enjoyed your 45 to 50-minute talk. When you go to leave the stage, what's 2 or 3 things you really hope they jot down and take back to their office and think about it?
I think, how can you accomplish more with less? It's the one thing that I would say. 2 to 3 things. So the number one thing, how do you accomplish more in your safety programs with less capital investment and less time investment? Obviously, I am the owner or the CEO of Yelllowbird, so we can help you accomplish that. But that's the first, accomplishing more with less. Number 2, do you have a operational mentality of air traffic control versus firefighting?
Perfect.
And that is from not just in safety, but in all aspects of the business. When does it make sense to bring in an expert? When does it make sense to use your generalists who are general experts? And the third and final, I would say, is don't look at internal versus external, look at ecosystems. And that is how I see the safety community. We are an ecosystem. We all rely on each other. Before Yellowbird existed, how you would find somebody to help you is people would go to other association folks in the similar environment. You go to ASSP, you go to the National Safety Council, you'd go to the Association of Industrial Hygienists, whatever association that you are part of, and you ask each other for help. So look at our programs as safety ecosystems. And if we can help expand your safety ecosystem, then we've accomplished our objective.
I got to be candid. It's the first time I've heard safety discussed as an ecosystem. I kind of like approach it. That's kind of cool.
Thank you.
So can you expand on that just a little bit when you say ecosystem? Naturally, I think
Sure.
It's like ecology or whatever. So but I think you're kind of a little different perspective.
Sure.
Okay.
So, unfortunately, the safety guy or gal has been thrown into a massive bucket. And, I'm an OSHA specialist. Well, OSHA has so many subsections and guidelines. And what I always say when I'm having these discussions is you wouldn't take somebody out of a mine shaft in a confined space who's trained on mining exploration safety and put them in a medical clean room at a laboratory. They're just very, very different people. They've got different skills. Even if they're well educated and trained, those are different people. However, they may actually hold the same certification. And so what I try to do is have people understand that we are all part of this overall community of safety. We work together. We lean on each other. We rely on each other. It's the most giving community I've ever encountered. And I have more professionals say, I want to make sure I can do this well before I say yes to this gig. It's not, I'll figure it out, or I'll do a quick read up on that and no problem. I mean, people in this community truly, and if they can't do it, they generally will say, but I know somebody who might be good. Are they on your platform? And so that's the ecosystem. And that's what I love about this. We are all feeding each other.
That is perfect. And in summary, and again, having people like Michael Zalle from Yellowbird and this perspectives and insight, jot some of these down, and just in case you forgot them, you got to figure out who you are and what you do as a company. Whatever your mission is, you want to make sure you weave that into pretty much about every discussion you have with your people. Excuse me. And it may not be a big formal presentation. I'm trying to get a frog in my throat. It can be literally out in the work area where you're stopping by to see how they're doing at lunch. And I really like this whole vision. You want to be an air traffic controller versus a firefighter. You've got so many things on your plate. Dealing with market share, what the stocks are doing, what your board of directors is thinking, how you interact with your clients, they're C-suite people. You want to have some others that can do those tactical work for you. And who better than Yellowbird? Michael, I can't thank you enough for being with us today. We're at the tail end of the show. This always goes by a lot faster than I think it will because we're having a lot of fun. And candidly, I learned something new. You can bet I'm going to be writing on my little chalkboard about ecosystems from a safety professional perspective. Michael, real quick, before we get out of here, what's the best way for people to get a hold of Yellowbird?
All right. It's goyellowbird.com. It's G-O, Yellowbird, just like it sounds, .com. And all of our hashtags, if you'll follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook and all your other socials, that would be great. They're all Go Yellowbird. And even our email addresses are at Go Yellowbird. So by all means, I look forward to hearing from anybody who needs assistance. And if you have any suggestions on how we could improve as a Yellowbird community, we are always open to that. We are a constant learning and evolving organization. And, great ideas don't always come from inside. So please feel free to reach out.
Michael Zalle, thank you again so much for being with us. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes this week's episode of Safety Culture Solutions, sponsored by Safety Culture Strategies. You can reach me at www.scstrat.com, Mike at scstrat.com, also on LinkedIn and Facebook. Feel free to contact me if you're looking for a keynote speaker, a breakout session. We talk a lot of this, and we also have a lot of fun with it. Also, if you're interested in being a featured guest, we'd love to talk to you. Reach out, get a hold of me. Make sure to share, like, and subscribe. Until next time, be safe out there, and we wish you all the best with your safety culture journey.